Have you wondered about living elsewhere in your retirement? Well, we have almost daily. No, it's not a simple decision, especially when two people are involved.
Hi, this is
Gil
and Gene of Retire There, a podcast about retirement destinations. We live in Brooklyn, New York. Having grown up and worked in this area of the country, we're hoping to relocate when we're both retired. For us, it's the weather, the chaos, the noise, and the yearning to be near nature and not within 3 feet of human beings.
That's right. In February 2020, we embarked on our journey to find that special place. We spent a week in Winter Park, Florida, which is beautiful, but something said it wasn't for us. As we were planning for the next trip, the pandemic arrived. Gene then gave birth.
I gave birth?
To this podcast. With so many baby boomers retiring, many must be relocating. Why not connect with and learn from them?
Here's a little background about us.
I'm Asian, born in Brazil, and grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn. I'm an engineer turned attorney turned podcaster. I recently retired from a university career practicing higher education law. I love the academic environment, but it was time to do something else. I no longer have to set an alarm, drive in BQE traffic, or work with people who don't always share the same principles. Ooh, did I just say that? You bet I did. I traded all that in to binge crime dramas into the wee hours, just a little bit, to develop the podcast, to volunteer, practice metalsmithing, tackle our possessions. No regrets so far. Gene?
I'm not Asian, and as Gil mentioned, I'm not retired. I'm just plain tired.
Oh.
Born and raised in Long Island, New York, a place I always wanted to leave. I'm a law librarian working in a court who loves his job, but we're retired by the time we select our ideal location. We will be speaking to folks from across the street to across the globe who have moved to their dream venues and more. So please stay tuned, and remember, if you know anyone who has moved anywhere for retirement, let us know.
Thank you. Hello or Hello or Chesh. I hope that's right. Okay. Today we chat with Grace Nagiecka and Greg Spring, who retired to Krakow, Poland, but are recording with us today from the great state of Maine. Now, this is going to be fascinating, folks. This conversation is going to be very interesting and powerful. Krakow is the second largest city in Poland with 760,000 plus residents. There is so much history and beauty in Krakow. But first, I'd like to discuss the history of World War II. As Gene would say, Gil, you're not much of a historian, but I read a short but wonderfully written piece by Summer Collier, a food blogger, for her blog, aspicyperspective.com, who posted the top 10 reasons to visit Krakow, Poland. The main reason that struck me was you have to experience World War II history. Krakow was an ominous place to be during World War II. Poland had the largest Jewish population in Europe at the time. So much of the devastating accounts we learn about in school happened there. Nazis took hold of the city and used it as a central location for many of their operations. Jewish ghettos were built to control the population. People were starved, then carted out of the city to local concentration camps. Most of them were told they were being relocated to better living quarters and had no idea they were being sentenced to death. One site is Oskar Schindler's factory, known from the movie Schindler's List, is located in Krakow and is now a World War II museum featuring artifacts, clippings, and photographs from the region during the notorious years of 1939 to 1945. The infamous Auschwitz-Birkenau death camps are right outside of Krakow. For a day trip to learn and pay your respects to the 1.1 million people who died in this camp alone. 90% of these were Jewish. The author highly recommends anyone visiting Krakow to take the time to go to Auschwitz. For her, it only became real after seeing the living quarters, standing in the gas chamber, and witnessing the mountains of belongings taken from innocent people. And she added, it's by remembering the past that we change the future. On to a lighter note, an interesting fact among many about Krakow is that street vendors sell bagels all over the city. And Gene, you would love that. But they are called obwarzanek?
Obwarzanki.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to say that again. According to those in the know, these twisted bread rings were created in Krakow and are the original Jewish bagel. But the Wall Street Journal reported that Polish bakers argue these are not merely bagels. And of course, there's an interesting history behind it. And an application was filed with the European Union over a decade ago to designate the bread as a regional specialty. The journal explained that these bagels, might I call them, which comes from the Polish word to boil, are bigger than bagels and are woven from 2 strands of dough instead of 1. It has a diameter of 4.7 to 6.7 inches, weighing in at about 4 ounces, and has a sweetish taste, not Swedish, sweetish, according to Poland's application filed with the EU. But enough about dough. Gene, please introduce us to Grace.
Sure. Grace was born in Horsham, England in 1948 to Polish parents. Shortly after the end of World War II, in those days, home in England for refugees was a displaced persons camp. In her first 4 years of life, her family lived in a Quonset hut with a dirt floor and no running water. Incidentally, a Quonset hut is a lightweight, prefabricated structure of corrugated galvanized steel with a semi-cylindrical cross-section. Her father, who was in the Polish army, had been imprisoned in a Soviet Union prisoner of war camp in Siberia. Grace's mom was taken prisoner by the Soviets when they were clearing the Polish territories they had invaded in 1939. Her mother spent a year in a work camp in Siberia before starting a long, arduous journey through several countries that finally landed her in England, where she met her husband. They immigrated to the U.S. by ship in 1952 through Ellis Island and settled in New Jersey, where Grace attended elementary school in Perth Amboy and high school in Lodi. She subsequently attended college in New York City. Grace was a flight attendant for a charter airline called Transamerica. She explained that this was the start of her vagabond life as she traipsed all over the world. She's been to various African countries, Saudi Arabia, as well as Kuala Lumpur, Guam, Yokohama, Japan, Manila, Philippines, Rio de Janeiro, and as well as usual hotspots including Paris, London, Edinburgh, Limerick, Amsterdam, Madrid, Honolulu, Brussels, Frankfurt, Berlin, Munich, Zurich, and Rome. Ooh. She then left the airlines to complete her education. Grace met Greg in New York City and married. She also worked in the menswear business in Manhattan and started a consulting business while being a part-time stay-at-home mom to their son. Right before retirement, she was a customer service manager at Crate & Barrel, one of Gil's favorite stores.
Yes, that was where I purchased my first piece of furniture with my first paycheck from my first professional job in Massachusetts.
Of course it was. Yeah. Besides traveling and researching for traveling, Grace reads, writes, blogs, takes language courses, and stays busy with cultural events.
Nice. Greg was born in New York City. After completing school, he worked at CBS TV as an usher in the broadcast studios, seating audiences for taping and live shows such as Ed Sullivan, Gary Moore, To Tell the Truth, and Password. Ed Sullivan, do you remember Topo Gigio?
Oh, of course.
Oh, well, this
Eddie. One. Oh, Eddie.
Yes.
This one happens to collect Topo Gigio.
Love Topo Gigio.
Yeah, we have about probably 40 different pieces. And when my sister traveled when my sister, she was a buyer at Barney's, she would travel to Italy and different places. And each time she would bring home a Topo, so it was just never ending.
Mickey has nothing over Topo.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah. Greg then became a production assistant and worked several years on the Captain Kangaroo show. After that, he moved on to become an associate director, stage manager, working for CBS, ABC, and WNET. Man, I give you a lot of credit. I worked for NBC for a short time, and the industry can speak for itself.
You think that was worse than working for Captain Kangaroo?
Well, I didn't have that much fun. He was then hired by Madison Square Garden Network as a producer-director, mostly doing creative for entertainment at both the Garden and Radio City Music Hall. After 22 years at MSG, he retired as vice president in charge of arena entertainment, where his crew created the fan experience. He left the business with a ton of memories, a local Emmy nomination, yay, for an entertainment magazine show, and a network team Emmy for the 2004 Olympics in Athens, Greece. Man, that's amazing. Greg's primary interest has always been photography, and he turned that hobby into a business and has exhibited at art festivals and galleries. He now manages his photography website at gregoryspring.com and contributes to Grace's blog. Now, I want to just mention you have two blogs, and they are wonderful. wanderlustingdreams.com and whypoland.net. I mean, so informative. And on the whypoland.net, you can also click on gregoryspring.com to lead to his work. So these two items, anyone interested in Poland or just life itself, moving, downsizing, I mean, this is the place to visit. The couple meets with an expat group in Krakow regularly. They say the group is mixed with expats and Poles, and the diversity is really fun and exciting. Greg and Grace take trips through Poland and the EU frequently by train and plane. They love trains and plan to organize more exciting train journeys when they return to Europe in 2022. Now, the couple have lived in Staten Island, Manhattan, South Orange, New Jersey, Lemoyne, and Bar Harbor, Maine, and now it's Krakow, although today they're back in Maine. Originally, Grace and Greg believed Maine would be their retirement destination as they had vacationed there over the years, but they ultimately wound up in Krakow, Poland. Whoa. So without further ado, would you guys tell us how you changed your mind from Maine to Krakow?
Maine was always the place we had assumed we would retire because we had visited many times. It was the right spot. It had, by the ocean, we had mountains, we had forests and woods and wildlife. And after years in New York, this was sort of a big change of pace. One of the things one of the things I did when working for Madison Square Garden was I had this idea about the Rockettes and the origins of the Rockettes. And what I did was I traveled around the country and found Rockettes who danced for a troupe called the Missouri Rockets in the 1930s and 40s. And I tracked down the ones that were still alive, went to them, we did interviews. And for the 75th anniversary of Radio City Music Hall, I brought 7 of these women to New York to see the Christmas Spectacular, and they had never been in the music hall in their life.
Wow.
And it was just a great moment. It was a great thing for me, and they loved it.
And they have an alumni that's keep in touch with him. They still write to him and send him Christmas cards.
And really? For that, I was made an honorary member of the Rockettes alumni.
Oh, that's so funny. And was a documentary made about this or not?
I did. Yes, I did several small ones.
Oh, okay. We have to watch those. So let's go back a moment. Grace, you're of Polish descent. And did that play into the interest in moving to?
Well, what happened was while we were living in Lemoyne, Maine, we decided for our 25th wedding anniversary, we were going to take a 3-week trip to Europe. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to spend a week in each place. And since I had never been to Poland because it was under communism when I was growing up, we decided to include Poland. And so Krakow was 1 week, and we went to Krakow, and we both fell in love with it. Greg just flipped. I mean, he really, really loved it. We came back from that trip thinking, well, then the next step was that you were online.
I was online just doodling around, and I found this website and discovered that Grace was actually still a citizen of Poland because her parents were Polish, and there was it transferred. Mm-hmm. Polish citizenship would transfer from your grandparents' parents and siblings. Mm-hmm. So I screamed out to her in the kitchen and said, "Do you realize you're a Polish citizen?" and she didn't. And that sort of opened the rest of the doors. That started the ball in motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were born in England. That's right. That's right. So you wouldn't have necessarily known. So do you have dual citizenship?
I have dual citizenship now. After the fall of the wall of the fall of communism, the Polish government reestablished this thing where all these people that were displaced all over the world could reaffirm their Polish citizenship, and they had a special applications and a special program to get us all back. And I went through that. It took 2 years because a lot of paperwork was lost, and you had to go research all that. And after 2 years in applications in Polish, with help from my Polish friends, we got the citizenship, birth certificate that I was Polish, and my passport, and that allowed us to live in the EU. And because of that, I think that it reaffirmed our destination as Krakow. We both already loved it.
Okay.
But that reaffirmed it. That made it easy for us to live in Europe and travel. And,
for many of our guests, they moved because of financial gains, so to speak. Things were less costly abroad and so forth. For you folks, it doesn't seem to be the case. It was more the love. Oh, okay.
That was part of it. I mean, there were a lot of we went through a long process, and finding it so affordable that we could live on Social Security and travel just on our savings really was a big plus as well. Wow. Plus the cost of medicine and doctors and clothing and food was so low that we knew that we could make our Social Security dollars go a long way there. Yeah. And they did.
We did not realize the financial impact at first until we started realizing we could get 4 Polish dollars to 1 American dollar.
Yeah.
And things were costs less there. So we're able to do more with our money.
Oh.
A lot more.
Sure. Okay, let's focus on one point at this moment. So banking, did you have to open new accounts? Do you keep anything back in the United States, for ease, or what's that story?
Yeah, we had to open an account in Poland because we bought a property. We bought an apartment.
Oh.
So we had and we still have that same bank account. We didn't close it. And yes, we kept our American bank account because the Social Security just goes straight into there.
Sure.
And then we just use a debit card and get the money out. And, it's very easy. There's no problem keeping a bank account on both ends.
Okay.
So we do.
Okay. So you still have strong ties in the United States. I mean, you're living in a house in Maine. Is this your condo? Because I know you had a huge home. A lovely home. I saw the picture on your site.
It was really beautiful. It was my dream house.
Yeah. Are you keeping the main place? Now, this is very personal, I realize. Are you keeping the main place because it's kind of hard to give up, or do you think you might be coming back, or what do you guys feel?
In the 5 years, we were kind of on the cusp. We didn't know where we really wanted to focus. And there's so many positive elements about living in both places. It's a very difficult decision. Now being away from Europe for more than a year, I'm really drawn to go back so quickly and stay. I'm not sure, we're not sure yet still, but yes, that was part of it. It was hard to make the total disconnect and leave, especially since we have our son here. I have a sister here. And
yeah.
And the properties, or not the properties so much, the cities and countries are so different.
Yeah.
I get asked a lot, which do you prefer? And I really can't answer that question because I can look out my window here and see a deer. I look out my window in Krakow, I see another building.
That's you would think it's the other way around. You know what I mean?
I like that idea of having one of each.
Yeah. We might just have to do that, Gene, if you retire anytime soon.
The advantage of having this condo there is the mortgage is paid off. It's just here. And so if we wanted to sell it, I guess we could, but it really doesn't cost us anything to keep it right now.
Okay.
So, it's always a place to go back. We do have Medicare and all that. So there are some advantages there. I had my surgeries I came back because of Medicare.
Okay.
But there's no disadvantage. It's just that we haven't made a real firm, courageous decision to live in Europe for good.
Gotcha.
And you said you were in Krakow for a week and you both fell in love with it. What was it about? What about it?
It really
did you feel that way.
It was just, first, it was so different and it was so old. Every buildings from the 12th century and people were very nice to me.
Interesting.
They tried to help you when possible. I butchered the language a lot. They played along with me. I don't know. It was just the food, everything about the museums, the restaurants, the shops. Everything there was just wonderful. And it was such an easy place in Central Europe to go any place else wanted to go.
That's true. That's true.
And in your intro, when you had all that history from World War II, the thing about Krakow is that there's a beautiful medieval market square. It's gorgeous. It's the largest market square in Europe. And when you go into that square, the architecture is beautiful, but it's such a happy place. It's just got a really good vibe. There's musicians and great restaurants and people just having a good time and children running around and pigeons. And every time we come back and we go into that square, even if we've just been away for 3 weeks or something, it's like being home. There's really a real pull there for both of us. And then, of course, I'm Polish, so
right.
I was able to be Polish again, not American so much, but trying so real hard to be Polish. So that was good for me too. But Krakow was a special place.
Oh, there was a real pull.
Yeah. Pull. Yeah.
Okay.
And since Greg's your husband, does he have citizenship as well, or?
Well, he has a visa because he's married to a Polish citizen. We were able to apply for a visa for him, which he could talk about because that was interesting.
Well, the first time it was for 1 year. And you have to go in for an interview and you have to bring an interpreter because everything is done in Polish. And no matter if you're not a citizen, you can't do any official government things without a certified Polish interpreter. The second visa was for 5 years. And the next one is also 5 years. After that, then I become permanent.
Okay.
And, the interview really consists of background. Do you have any money in the United States? Do you have a police record? The usual type of things. And then you get fingerprinted and, that's pretty much it.
They're also checking real hard to make sure you really are married together.
Oh,
because they ask you things like, okay, in your apartment, where do you keep your iron? The last breath.
You're interviewed separately.
You're interviewed separately. Yeah.
Right.
It's so funny.
Oh my God. We might just fail.
What if you don't know where your wife keeps or your husband keeps the iron?
I know.
Yeah.
Do you know where
that has
basement?
Okay. Not that we ever use it. Yeah. Oh my God.
That has been the answer some of my friends have given when asked that. They said, "How would I know?"
Right. Interesting. Well, I have to ask the question. So you're an interracial couple like us. Did that play into anything there? When you said they were very welcoming, did anyone look at you guys or ask questions?
Give you the side eye?
Yeah, like we get sometimes. Even in Brooklyn.
We get that too. Here.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
It's kind of a sensitive thing. And the reason I say that is I don't want to offend anybody. But at the same time, explaining they know what's going on. Polish people are not used to seeing a lot of people of color.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I'm like, he moved to Poland.
So when you walk by, you do get that.
Oh, man.
But if you catch them doing that, they immediately turn away. And
so
with
obvious.
children will look at you the same way and go,
oh. Yeah.
But if a parent sees a child doing that, they snatch him by the arm and tell him, it's not polite.
Oh, that's so great.
That's not the way you act.
Wow.
So in that way, there is a lot of respect for other people there.
Oh. Yeah, I get a lot of kids looking at me. I mean, even around here, and it's just, it is what it is, but still, it's bad.
But, and Polish people have a way of, I use the word distrustful, or suspicious, I should maybe say. Okay. But as soon as they get to know you, that all goes right out the window.
Okay.
And they're your best friends forever.
Oh, but they're willing to get to know you. So they're
yes. And you have to be willing to. I have friends who do not really speak English. And my Polish, again, is terrible. But we manage. Okay. We communicate and we always wave to each other when walking down the street and that sort of thing.
Okay, good.
There's some people like in the remember him, of course, when he goes to a store and comes out again. And then if he passes the store again, the security guard will come out and say, hi.
It's the advantage of being black, I figure, in Poland. And nobody forgets me.
Oh, my God. Okay. No,
and Grace, how is your Polish?
Oh, well, I grew up speaking Polish. I learned English when I started American schools, but my Polish is still very limited. The language has changed. I haven't spoken it fluently in a long time. So it's really come back. And that's been another gift for me. But I can definitely get by in Poland with my Polish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. So your parents spoke Polish at home. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And the people in the city, do many of them speak English?
The young people all speak English. The young people do. Sometimes you'll find, like, you'll get into a situation like you go to a small bank branch and nobody speaks English. It's changing a lot, though. Restaurants, you don't have to worry. They just automatically bring you the English menu, but especially when they see the two of us. Yeah. But the young people all speak English, and it's getting better in a big city like Krakow. If you go to a smaller area, you might going to have different problems. Okay. You may not find as many. And even when we go to the farmers market, the big outdoor market, there's a lot of vendors here that don't speak English, but Greg does great in the market.
Well, I've memorized everything I need.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In Polish.
Like what? Like what? What do you need?
Ogórki.
What's that?
Pickles.
Pickles.
Kapusta.
Yeah.
Cabbage.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Very
the best pickles. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so let's go back a moment to talk about housing. How in the world did you find housing, not being familiar with Krakow or Poland?
I have to tell you that we both still talk about this. Like, how the heck did we end up buying a flat in Krakow before we ever even lived there?
Right.
And it was, I have to tell you, it was scary. It was really, really scary. But for some reason, our Polish friend here in Maine, his mother lives in Krakow, was working for a real estate agency.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That was meant to be.
Yeah, really.
And she took us around and helped us through the whole process. And she doesn't speak English either.
Oh.
But, we got on really well. And she helped us to buy this flat in Krakow, which was 38 square meters, very small. And we lived there for 3 years. And we didn't kill each other.
Okay. So you didn't even rent first. You went out to buy.
We bought and we rented that place while we were still here getting ready to go. We rented out the flat to students, medical students. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there was no renting. Are you familiar with the rent costs in Krakow?
We rented the last 2 years because once we sold the flat, we couldn't live in that little flat anymore. We sold it and we rented a 2-bedroom, beautiful place. It was about $1,000 a month. That's what it translates to in American, right? Plus an extra $20 for internet. Internet was $20 a month.
Ooh, that's it. Wow.
Yeah. It was a great section. It was right by the old town. And we had a great landlord.
Concierge.
It was concierge.
Oh, wow.
We had a French landlord who was a doll. When we were trying to come back, our lease was up and we couldn't get back because of COVID, because the airlines weren't flying. And he just let us stay on a month-to-month basis until we could leave. And I want to tell you, I'd go back there and rent that place in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Again, it was really, really nice.
What was the size of the space? You said it was 60, it a 2-bedroom?
It was a 2-bedroom. It was 60 square meters as opposed to, it was big. It was in an old building. It had high ceilings and tall windows. And
beautiful.
Really pretty.
Anyway, and from there, did you purchase another place or not?
No, we haven't purchased that this time, no. Okay. So if we go back, it'll be Airbnb until we find another rental. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And what's the cost of utilities and things like that in Krakow?
Oh, utilities. You asked me when I didn't look up.
Oh, no. It's fine. What would a monthly cost be for, someone interested in renting?
Okay. $1,000 was a really nice apartment in the old town. You can get a lot better deals if you're further away from the heart of the tourist.
Sure.
So that's that. Cell phones monthly for both of us was $30.
What?
Wow.
That's it?
Yeah. And we got roaming when we traveled. Like a haircut for me with color highlights and all that fancy stuff that women like to get, right? $75 with the coloring and everything and the cutting and all that stuff.
Okay.
And that's really good.
Yeah.
And they were wonderful. Nice. They're great.
Okay.
Internet, I told you, was $20. No. Groceries, we averaged about $75 a week.
Okay.
That's expensive, yeah.
But most weeks it was a little bit more. And then we went out to eat a lot. because it was so affordable. So it was like $75 in groceries, and then we would go out to eat.
When you say affordable, how much for a lunch or dinner would you say?
In a very fine restaurant, this was a Sardinian restaurant that we loved, very high end. It was for two of us, and we don't drink wine. So this is without wine and drinks. It's 3 courses, $59 for both of us.
Wow, that's
nice.
good. Yeah.
And it's the best sushi. We love the sushi in Krakow. We have sushi often there.
Really?
And sushi for 2 on an average was about $50.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
For 2.
And,
okay.
And we used to have to we would put ourselves on the budget for sushi because we would have it like every day.
Oh, yeah.
We could. So.
Yeah, I love sushi.
Yeah, it was good.
The big question is, could you live in Krakow without cooking? I mean, could you live there eating out every day?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But that is my big thing.
One of the problems with the city when we go out to eat was the decision-making process. There are just so many good restaurants. You know, some are close, some are further away, but there's just there aren't any bad ones. I'm sure you can find them.
Yeah.
But there are even places called milk bars.
Milk bars.
A milk bar.
Yeah. Is that
which
coffee?
is a leftover from communist times. But they're very modern now. They're not, they have nice lighting and everything. But it's just you get prepared meals.
Oh,
on a
very
tray.
cheap. Yeah,
it's you go to the counter, you order, and you bring it out on a tray. And it was made for the working class during communism times to be very affordable.
And you share tables.
And you just have to get the place. Yeah,
it's still inexpensive.
Yes.
Wow.
Is.
And they're called milk, as in white milk?
Yes, milk bar.
Okay, I thought that was going to be like a coffee house.
Yeah, I always thought it was going to be like a dairy bar, like a Jewish dairy bar, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's
and our favorite one is actually owned by an Irishman.
guy.
Oh my goodness,
I love that.
He's great.
That's great. Yeah.
And it's a really famous one in Krakow too. The other thing I want to say about not cooking and eating out all the time is, if you go to the market, like they have 2 big outdoor markets, but they also have little shops in there, and you can buy all the prepared food you want there and bring it home.
Oh, wow.
And it's delicious. Like the pierogi and the different rolled meats and vegetables, and they love their little salads. They have, but not green salads, like mayonnaise salads. Yeah. So you can buy, and cakes, pieces of cake and everything. You can bring that all home.
Is that like street food?
No, there is street food as well, but no, this is more like going to the supermarket, but it's not a supermarket.
Okay.
It's like a whole, the farmers are there with all their beautiful produce. And then all around there's these little shops that sell all these, like in the bakeries and meat vendors and the most delicious breads. The breads are in a special bakery.
Oh, wow.
You go in, there's like 20 different kinds of breads, to bring home. So yeah, you can go to the market and just bring it home, and you still don't have to cook.
Oh, that's important to me.
And talking about food, I know what pierogies are. They're sort of potato-filled dumplings. But what's this donut thing? How do you pronounce that? The donut?
Punchki?
How is that?
Punchki is a big fat Polish donut. It's filled with either jam but now they fill it with everything. The modern day punchki is nothing like what my mother used to make. They fill it with caramel, and they frost it with strawberries. And there's a day right before Lent that's called Punchki Day. It's like, the day where the Fat Tuesday, where everybody eats all the sweets before Lent starts. And you will see people lined up for miles around bakeries on that day. Goodness. And people coming home with bags of punchki,
So I guess you can freeze it all also, right? And
I don't know if they
never lasted that long.
Okay.
So you like them? They're good?
They're very good. Yes, they are. But they're not like a Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
Got it.
They're big, fat, doughy, delicious.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. Fried dough, baby.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because they do fry, right? They boil.
It's a donut. They fry.
Yeah, no. You're right. So in terms of cost, you have to pay taxes on your home. I know you had a home. So what's that?
Yeah. I did all the money research. We had to pay to the city, and the city was about, I want to say $20 a year, something like that.
Oh, wow.
A year?
Yeah, a year. And then to the government, you paid also, and that was a little bit more, but not much. I want to say $50 or $60.
Oh, wow.
It was really inconsequential. I don't know what it's like now. That's what it was like in 2015 when we started this thing. It was very, very inexpensive. The hardest thing about that is keeping track of where you have to pay it and remembering to pay it because they don't send you reminders or anything like that. You just have to go and pay it.
Okay. You said tax to the city and tax to the government. One is to Krakow and the other is to what, General Poland?
It's kind of a strange thing. Somebody explained it, my real estate agent friend explained it to. It's like to the city, you pay for the ground that the building is on. Okay, so and then to the government, you pay for the fact that you have some kind of real estate in the country. I'm not really sure, but it's something like that.
Okay.
And is there?
No, I was going to say there are plenty of laws, which we had to research doing this. If you're not a Polish citizen, you can't actually buy land.
Okay.
You can get a house, but they're not going to sell you land because you're not a citizen. But you can buy any kind of condos or that.
So I guess there isn't much of people, well, unless you're citizens, like you said, buying land and then perhaps later building a home. There probably isn't much of that.
No.
Can't buy the land.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
And as far as money goes, there are things, I just thought I'd point this out, you still had to do in cash. And it was funny, when we purchased the property, we had to go to a legal office, Notarusz, to pay the taxes, and they only took cash.
Wow.
So I had about, I don't know, between 14 and 16,000 Polish złotych.
In cash?
In a pouch, in cash.
And their denominations, they don't have 500s. Everything's in hundreds.
Hundreds or 200s were as high as you could go.
Oh, my Lord.
It's Polish money. It's not, they don't use the euro.
No, it's Polish money. Yeah.
And they have
the
cash counting machine.
Yeah. Okay.
And they just rattled it off. And
that's a bit of a
rather
shock.
Weird.
Yeah.
Strange.
It reminds me when I was a bicycle messenger in San Francisco and I had to deliver $14,000 cash in a little basket. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a good thing you weren't mugged. Wait, so did I say that right? It's zlotny?
Zloty.
Zloty. There's no N. Yeah, there's no N in it.
No, I added that. All right. So zloty is 25 cents.
Yeah.
Or $1 to 4 zloty.
Right now it's 4. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And speaking of money, is it a cash society there, or do most people use credit cards?
You have a lot of plastic, all your bills and everything, you just pay through your bank, plastic online. When you go to a little market, like to buy groceries, where you pretty much have to have cash for them. Okay, because the farmers come in with their produce and this stuff, and you got to have cash.
Yeah.
For small things, you might want to have cash, but you order the taxis or automatically paid. Everything is pretty much virtual or plastic.
Yeah, they're
pretty it's debit cards mostly used instead of credit cards.
Yeah.
By the way, Greg, when you carried all that currency, did you have to go to the bank a few times to collect all that?
I think we got it from the bank. Yes.
Oh, okay.
They didn't go to the machine. They went in the bank.
No, I understand. But sometimes there's a limit to what you can take out.
Oh, not if you're dealing inside the bank with the teller. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sometimes they come back the next day and they'll give you the rest of it. Something like that.
I wouldn't know because I don't have that kind of cash.
And what about you? You talked about going to other parts of Europe. How far is the airport from you?
25 minutes.
Oh, nice.
But we usually take a taxi. It's about $20, something like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Really wonderful. And they have direct flights out of there, right, to the U.S.?
Not direct. You have to go through Germany. They used to be direct, but there's not anymore. So it's, we usually go on Lufthansa, Krakow to Frankfurt or Munich and then connect to Boston. Of course, we live up here. So we get to Boston. It's still 5 hours home.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, it's never an easy day for us, but if you live in Boston, you're set. If you live in New York, you're set.
Okay.
I didn't realize that
Germany is our gateway to the EU. We have to enter through either Munich or Frankfurt. And then once we're in the EU, we can go wherever we want without going through immigration or any sort of inspection again.
And when you're in Krakow and you want to go to other parts of Europe, is it inexpensive? Like, do they have a Ryanair and all that?
Oh, yes, it's inexpensive. We went on a 3-week train journey to Spain and Portugal. So we're out on the road. I always get these emails from Ryanair, and I got an email and said, $50 round trip tickets on Ryanair. And so I asked Greg, I said, where do you want to go for Christmas? Because this was November. And you want to go to Stockholm? And we did. We went to Stockholm and Copenhagen, and it was $50. We always buy like a premium seat so that we don't have to wait in line and we can get our seat in it. And we don't have to pay for luggage. But still, it's the base price is about $50 round trip. And sometimes less round trip.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what if you hang on to the specials and you go on Ryanair.
Okay.
So.
Wow, that's amazing.
I've never flown Ryanair.
It's in Europe.
Check it out. No, but even when we were there, we flew direct from here to there.
What about healthcare?
Yeah.
There is national health care. It's a good system, but it's not the best system. It's better than what we have in the United States. But it's not.
Okay.
But we bought insurance when we were there. And we also paid, and we had the insurance for catastrophic care, but we paid most of our medical costs out of pocket.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, like I had an MRI of my knee.
Yeah.
I paid $134.
Wow.
550 is what?
For an MRI.
For MRI, cash and carry.
Amazing.
That is incredible.
When I had the x-ray of the knee before that, it was $14.
Oh my goodness. It makes our healthcare look so
again,
terrible,
I
right?
keep saying our healthcare in the U.S. is just horrible.
Medicine is so inexpensive.
I mean, not the quality, but the whole system. Yeah.
A cardiopulmonary specialist, Greg, went with tests, like with the blood tests and everything else they have to do was $98.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So you just pay out of pocket for everything.
We pay out of pocket for all of that because it's, you still have to go and submit claims and everything. But with the insurance cost us $1,500 a year for both of us.
Oh,
somewhere around there.
Catastrophic, you said, right?
Yeah, we used that in case one of us had to go to the hospital.
Sure.
We never had to use it, fortunately. Like basic medical prescription meds, warfarin, 90 days.
Yes.
$7.
Oh my goodness.
And I had the actual receipts. I went through them so that I would give you the right numbers.
Right.
And that's without insurance. That's just paying out of pocket.
That's just going to the drugstore and they give you a piece of paper. It has a number on it. That number is already in the computer system nationwide. You can go to any pharmacy you want. And they pull up the number and give you your prescription. And if they don't have it in that pharmacy, you can go to any other pharmacy to fill it if they don't have it on that day.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, they'll even give you half of your order, mark up a new prescription for you so you can take the new prescription somewhere else.
Wow.
To take it
it's very convenient. Can I add one insurance story? And this is my first real experience with insurance, not medical, but when we bought the apartment, and we were buying insurance, and the insurance agent came to the house. He looked around.
This is house insurance.
Homeowners insurance. And you were buying for any damage you do to somebody else's apartment, floods or anything like that. And he gave me a figure, and I said, does that include the deductible? And I swear he looked at me as if I had two heads. He had never heard of that. I tried to explain to him what a deductible is. He says, we don't do that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh, my
he said, if you buy $60,000 worth of insurance, you get $60,000 worth of insurance.
Wow.
That's
a great
so
story.
Nice.
I mean, that's
I love
amazing.
that story.
When you think
But
about
it's so
it, what
sad,
is the
though,
point
for
of
us.
that deductible, right? Well, obviously.
So
we know. I have one more medical cost story for you. Our son came, last time he came to visit, he had gotten a dental estimate from his dentist here in the United States, and it was for $6,500. The insurance was only going to pay $1,200. Mm-hmm. So we told him to bring the estimate here, see our dentist in Poland. Here I'm at Krakow, because so he ended up having the $6,500 worth of dental work done over a week and a half for $2,000.
Oh my goodness!
Wow!
And their dentists are excellent. They are just excellent.
Wow. The dental firm is also owned by somebody from Ireland.
Right. They have dental medical tourism. People come out of the country just to get their teeth in Poland.
Yeah. I mean, I plan to go to Mexico because we had some really good recommendations, and I need, like an implant done, and I'm just going to wait.
Mm-hmm. And do most of the doctors and dentists speak English?
Yes. They do.
That's great.
We've had a couple instances when maybe they didn't speak, like the orthopedic I was using didn't speak English to the point where I could really understand them sometimes. But then after that, I got recommendations for English-speaking orthopedists. And, if you go into a hospital, I've heard the story that, the doctor that's waiting on you, that's taking care of you, speaks English, but maybe the staff doesn't all speak English. So there is some of that, which is one of the reasons I came here to have surgery, because I didn't want to deal with it in Polish. I can't really express all the medical terminology in Polish. As far as going to a doctor's visit, a cardiologist, or a regular visit, they speak English. Okay. You ask for an English-speaking doctor, and they'll give you one.
Okay. So I guess the initial question is, when you get to a foreign country and you're not familiar with thereabouts and what have you, how do you begin to find a primary care?
That's a good question.
I mean, we've heard from our other guests, we go on Facebook groups and there are these expat groups or, living abroad in Ireland or something, and they'll give advice. But I was just wondering what your experience was.
We got the recommendations through the expat group for the dentist and the primary care.
Okay.
Most of the expats went to one kind of clinic called LuxMed, and then we found another clinic that we loved that was NLMed, and that's who we were using. The dentist, our Irish friend, gave us that recommendation, and it was a real good one. And he was a real dental, he had dental phobia. So when he told us he loved this dentist, it was like, okay, this is the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
So we got him through the expat group. And I think I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of a hospital near where you lived, was it close or?
Yeah. There's a huge university hospital on one of the main drags. There's a big medical school. The university in Krakow is the Jagiellonian University. It's the fourth oldest university in Europe. It has a big medical school and a dental school, and the doctors practice there. And so there's two other hospitals, but they're more on the outskirts. The one right in the center town is the university hospital.
Okay.
And did you need a car where you lived?
We never bought a car, and we never used a car.
One of the great things about the city is it's so easy to get around. The tram system is just wonderful. They have like an app you use on your phone that'll you'll know your location and it'll tell you where to walk to get the tram. It'll tell you what time the tram will arrive, and it will tell you how long it will take to get where you're going.
Nice.
And the other great thing is once you reach the age of 70, all public transportation is free.
I was just going to get to that. Okay. But how do you prove it? Do you go on and show a card or something?
Nobody asks you. There's a lot of old people sitting on the tram. So, but every once in a while, Greg will get carded.
And you show me. I have my visa.
Compliment. That's a compliment. Okay.
I have my visa, which I can show to them.
That's so funny.
Or even if you have a driver's license from outside of the country, as long as you have a birth date.
Oh, well, that must be cumbersome, right? Like, all right, let me see your card. Holds up traffic.
Well,
They come on the tram. You're already sitting on the tram, and they walk through, and they'll card you. Then it's not getting on. It's you just never know when they're going to get on the tram, and they do the same thing to check if you bought a ticket. Okay. So they'll just get on at some stop, and they'll go through the tram and check everybody.
And some of it can be funny if you're really a people watcher. You can watch little old ladies refuse to show their age. They'll just wave the ticket taker on.
I love that.
And they move. They won't ask.
That is so funny.
That's funny. That's respect. So is there a lot of respect for older people?
Yes, there is. And the babushkas, the little old ladies, they have their way. They rule. Yeah. They rule. The babushkas. Yeah, they rule.
I've heard that.
And there is respect. And the young people take care of their parents. And yes, you see that in the day-to-day culture.
Yeah. Young people will get up and give an older person their seat on the tram.
That's great. Yeah.
There's no question. They will wave you over, come and get you.
Yeah.
And let you sit down. And I always thought that was wonderful until they started doing it for me. And then
just take it, accept it.
But no, it's a very polite society in that manner.
Is it true then there aren't a flood of nursing homes like we have in the United States?
I don't know that there are. At least I've never heard of that.
I mean, I normally don't ask that question, but you just raised that in my head that, if
I don't know. I've never really researched that or thought about it. Krakow is a big city, but
I've never heard anyone talk of it. People will speak of having to go see their parents or having to go see their elderly aunt or bringing this to their house or something. Right. But no, not nursing. I've never heard anyone really speak of a nursing home.
Because I remember when my mom was ill, she was in Brooklyn, but big Asian group population and neighborhood in, various parts of Brooklyn. And it was never kind of an obvious thing to do or where to put your elderly, parents or what have you. Only until recently. I mean, in the last, I would say 5 years have I noticed it. And I think that could be the younger generation, that have been raised here and then the next generation. And they're like, just put them away.
I have an 88-year-old aunt that I connected with when we moved to Poland. She lives in another city in Wrocław, and I visited her often while we were there. She's 88, and she still lives in the same apartment that they moved there to after the war. Wow. And it's on the 4th floor. She doesn't go out anymore because she can't get down the stairs. She has to have somebody pretty much carry her. But the doctor comes to see her once a month to her apartment. The 3 grandchildren all work. But they come and they bring her groceries and so forth and so on. So she doesn't have to go into a nursing home. Okay.
Oh, that's great.
She's getting the care, and the neighbors all look. I see that the neighbors all look out for her, and they ask her if she needs something, and they'll run down to the store and get it for her. Oh, nice. So that's just my experience. That as a family, the closest of the family will take care of you.
What do you guys do for entertainment in Krakow?
Yeah, we're a lot busier there than we are here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have everything. It's a beautiful. I listened to one of your podcasts recently about the opera. They have a beautiful opera house in Krakow. The opera. They have festivals like they'll have a month of opera that's outdoor festivals. They'll have piano concerts for free in all different venues. We go out to eat a lot, but also there's a lot of museums. We hang out with the expats. We took a couple of road trips with the expats in a van. We went to visit different castles and so forth. Oh, cool. There's always something to do, always some kind of festival, a Christmas festival, Easter festival, flea markets. Oh, there's a whole month of Jewish music in the Jewish quarter. It's never ending. There's always something to do.
Mm-hmm. And what is this place? Is it Zalapai, the Painted Village? What is that?
Zalipe. Yeah. Greg went there. I've never been there.
It's just a very old village where the tradition somehow got started of painting your house. But houses are painted you put flowers on them.
Wow.
People have decorated. There was one home. It was decorated with broken plates and glass that were
like a mosaic kind of
cement into. It's just a very old, attractive place.
Oh, no, there was also, since you mentioned Zalipa, there's the mountains, the Carpathian Mountains are an hour outside of Krakow and to the south, and that's on the border of Slovakia. They're very high, ragged, alpine peaks, beautiful little towns all around it, and historical sites, and it's just a really pretty place to visit. Mm-hmm. In May, there's still snow on all the peaks. It's like an outdoor day, and you can hire a guide and they'll drive you all around. And
oh wow!
And what a lot of people probably don't realize is, I really believe that 3/4 of the population of Poland skis. Really, everybody's going away for the weekend to go skiing, and with the kids and everything, they just go down to the mountains. And they have an Olympic ski jump also.
Oh, wow!
In Zakopane.
And do you guys ski?
No.
No, I gave it up.
I just had hip replacement. I've had knee replacement.
Nice.
Not anymore.
I've never skied, cross country or otherwise. So it's like
I used to ski it, but not anymore. No. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask this question. Gil's going to get me mad at me, but I have to ask this question. The gigantic head at the base of the town hall tower. Sideways. It looks like it was cut off.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
It's fascinating. What is that?
I'm trying to remember what the story is. The kids play in that. It's a great play thing for the kids.
Oh, you can go
inside it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The kids go inside and look through the eyes.
The kids go inside of it.
Stick their head through the eyes.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember if it was a part of a monument that was taken.
No, it wasn't. It was a piece of artwork that was created. And I think they didn't have a place to put it, and that's where it ended up.
Okay. All right. Just for our listeners, you'll have to Google this. It is amazing. Gene showed me the photo earlier. It is. I mean, the head. It must be like the size of the Statue of Liberty head. It's on its side, just a head, cut off at the neck, black, with the eyes kind of like gold rimmed looking. At least I'm, not being there in person, I wouldn't know. But it is just one of these things that you would everyone comes back with photos of it, I'm sure, right?
I'm sure, yeah. It's right in that old square, the big market. It's part of the old medieval square. So,
okay.
And speaking of photos, Greg, as a photographer, does Krakow give you a lot of inspiration?
Oh, absolutely. That's the one thing they have there that I'm missing here is the architecture, the old buildings, the artwork that's just around the city. That's what I don't have here. And I just I got into photographing old buildings and close-ups of the architecture.
Oh, wow.
I do want to go back to a moment, weather.
Oh, yes.
What is the weather year-round in Krakow? Is it freezing or?
It's colder here in Maine than it is in Poland. I know that's not saying a lot, but we get more. They don't
that
get.
Doesn't tell us much.
Yeah, really.
They get some. They get some snow, and they would tell you that it's cold. But for us, it's really not. I mean, it turns. If it's 50 degrees, the girls all have their wool hats on and their ski jackets.
Oh my goodness.
But it's not the winters. It's the worst thing about the winter in Krakow is that the pavement is cobblestone and they get icy.
Oh,
that's about it.
Sure,
and summers can be very hot. They've had some really, really hot days.
Okay.
So
you need an air conditioner?
You kind of do nowadays. Yeah, you kind of do.
Okay. Yeah, I just checked online that it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit there right now. So that's a little chilly.
Yeah, they had some snow the last couple of days, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Greg, I have to ask you this. You work with a few of my heroes. What were Captain Kangaroo and Ed Sullivan like? Did you actually work with them?
Well, with the captain.
How was he?
Referred to him as the captain. His name was Bob Keeshan.
Right. Yeah. Please don't tell me he was mean.
No, he was actually a very funny guy. He was very particular. Mm-hmm. Just not mean. Like if he would never meet children out of costume.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He also would not allow children in the studio with the treasure house, so to speak, because Mr. Moose might be lying there on the console looking like he's dead. And he made sure to keep the illusion for the children. And then that's just a very nice guy, very talented man. Sullivan, I didn't work. I worked for him, but not really with him.
Gotcha.
The only, I think one story I can remember was I was sent to pick him up, and he lived in the Hotel Delmonico, I believe, on Park Avenue.
Wow.
That's where his apartment was. And I went to pick him up, and I had to bring his suits, carry his suits back. I'm at his door, and he's trying to get his wife to come out to meet me. And she's like in her robe or something. And he's going, Sylvia, come on out here. I want you to meet Gregory. I want you to meet Gregory. And that's the only story I can remember about.
That's a great story.
And did you ever meet my hero, Topo Gigio?
No.
Okay.
That's
too bad.
He didn't work. He didn't use cue cards.
Yeah, Gene, maybe Topo just kind of sat there.
Topo,
you know? Okay.
I don't think so.
Eddie.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, you said just like him. All right. I do want to ask, was very moved by this in Grace's blog when you said you guys were trying to downsize to move to Europe and that you have a, quote, compulsive need for order. And I want to say I am the same way. I'm not successful because you can't live with people who are just like you, right? So it's kind of hard. Was it hard to give up all those things? Because you had also said possessions were demons, which I agree. They control you.
I had 19 years in the house in New Jersey with a son growing up and all the things that you acquire living 19 years in the house. I lost my mother and my father, so their possessions, and my aunt and their possessions came. And so when we were downsizing, there was a lot to go through. One of the things somebody told me was, remember that you have one son and this will all be on him if you pass.
Yes.
All this stuff. So if you look at it and it means something only to you and not to anybody else, not to him, then it's, why are you keeping it? That kind of thing. But we still have a storage unit. I'm still going through the process because for me, it was in waves. It was New Jersey to Maine, downsize. Big house Maine, little condo Maine, downsize again. Moving to Poland. We're always editing out our stuff. And it was very hard. It's very, very hard. You have to, I think you have to stay focused on your goal. You got to, what's the goal? The goal is to do something exciting in retirement, to live in Europe unencumbered, worrying about what your possessions are doing back home, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I was told that when going around through your things, if you haven't used it for 6 months, or you have to move things to get to what you want, there's certainly things you don't need.
Wow, 6 months? You're
I've
tough.
heard this.
I was here a year. I never heard 6 months.
I mean, if we have I always say our son is really not going to want a dining room table for 8. But it's still sitting in storage.
Because I'm attached to it. I'm hoping he does, but someday I mean, it's, it's the table that he did his homework on, and we had all Christmas meals and, all that stuff. That table has the little pencil marks on it that he made. And I'm having a hard time with that table, but it's in storage. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So we have one son. He doesn't seem to care about much, but I was very surprised.
There are certain things.
So we went through the same thing recently, because as we've been recording now about a year's worth of stories, everyone has said similar one way or another things about what to keep, what to toss, and so forth. I put all his little kind of toys or like you said, things he touched or things he just loved playing with into a bag. And Gene here has a tougher time with giving up Max's toys. So it's a little confusing.
That's not true.
Yes, it's true. And so when Max comes home, he's actually coming home this coming weekend, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to have him go through one box of all these kind of odd one-offs, what have you. But I've learned one important thing, and that is I am not going to take part in the emotional attachment to the item. If he wants it for whatever reason, I am not going to talk him out of it. I will just take it from that one space and put it into this other bin that will be labeled, with his name, but there will be no stress. I will not say, because he moved to Rhode Island for a job right after college recently. So we're not going to say, you have to take this with you, because he sees this as home. And so he will have that there. Well, he has more than one box. He has plenty of boxes here.
There's not much he wants. He doesn't want any of our stuff.
But I just need that floor space. I need to look at it. And because empty floors now bring me such calm and peace that's worth more. That's worth more than money. Okay.
You also, in your decision to move to Europe, you need to bring a lot less with you there. They have everything in a country like Poland. They have everything there that you need here, that you can get here, you can get there. And sometimes better. Clothes are less expensive there than they are here. Mm-hmm. So when we first went over, I thought, what if I can't find my size? What if I can't find my shampoo? I like this certain kind of deodorant. Put that away. It's gonna be fine. You'll find everything you need there. It may take a little time to navigate all of the different shelves in the store to find what you need, but you can find anything you want there that we have here.
And that could also be part of the learning experience. What there are two things was when Grace was trying to buy Vicks Vapor Rub. And she asked the lady for Vicks. Mm-hmm. And she gave it a look like, Vicks. And she finally figured it's Vicks.
Oh, so it was there.
Vicks.
She didn't understand the Vicks, and I didn't think to say it in Polish with the I like an E. And
and I tried in a
you're like rubbing your
store.
I was. Yeah. So I said, and I have a cold,
And then in the drugstore, I was buying Q-tips.
Oh, no.
But there's no such thing as a Q-tip. Until I stood there and stuck my finger in my ear. And she said, Patichki.
little sticks for your ear.
Oh, my goodness.
And does it look like a Q-tip?
Yeah.
Yes.
They have regular Q-tips there.
Okay. Johnson & Johnson would be proud.
But it is a great education, because a Band-Aid there's no Band-Aid that's a brand name.
Right.
It's you're buying a plastic or plaster.
Oh, right. Plaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can also order online, I suppose, right?
We do that too. Yeah. For some things we did.
Amazon UK became a good friend.
Which I don't know what that's going to be like when we come back, but we used to do everything from Amazon UK.
And was it convenient? Like just ordering something, you can get it overnight. And okay.
Yeah, and they send you a text. Mm-hmm. It's coming today. It's by text. And then sometimes if you're not home, they'll just deliver it to these little, their 7-Eleven is called Shopka, and they're the little neighborhood stores, and they'll just deliver it there, and you can go there and pick it up.
Okay.
It's everything's like very integrated and homey and neighborhoody.
Okay. One question we didn't ask earlier was there culture shock when you moved there? I mean, I know you kept the place in the U.S., so that's got to be a comfort zone. But when you decided to purchase property as an investment there, that was pretty serious. And then when you went there, and it was no longer a vacation, like you said, you had been there many times over. Was the culture shock, like, did it settle in as, oh, this is very different?
It's a great question, because the culture shock for me was after spending 2 years in Europe and coming back to the United States just to take care of some business. Mm-hmm. The culture shock was coming in this direction.
Oh.
It was harder to believe that we actually did things the way we did in the United States, and while other people actually had a better way of doing the same thing.
But to touch on that, we got a story from a friend who came to visit somebody we met online who was Polish, and she came to Poland often. And so we touched base with her, and she kept asking us this question: what was it like? How did you adjust? And I have to say, the first, I'd say 6 to 8 months was not easy. Okay, you are living in a completely different environment. If you think it's going to be the same, don't even try, because it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different, and there's going to be adjustment. These friends of hers were Polish, of Polish heritage. They moved to Poland, and they always loved coming there, and they lasted about a year. They could not take it. They could not adjust.
What was it though? Like, give us a sense. I kept asking her that, and she said something about not being happy or not feeling like a part of it or something like that. And I think that's, maybe it's because they were looking for things to be kind of the same, and it's not going to be the same. It's different. Right. You're going for an adventure. What is an adventure? It's not the same old. Yeah.
It's something completely different, and it's going to be hard to do the transition and hard to do the work. But in the end, when we talk about things now, the last year being here and what we've done and where we've been, it makes me happy that we've done it. And it makes me proud that we've done it. Mm-hmm. So it's worth the investment. And even though it's hard to adjust at the very beginning, sit in it for a while, in it and wait, because it'll come.
And I would say you do as much research as you can before you get on the plane, and keeping in mind that a lot of what you find out is going to be wrong. Or it won't apply once you're there. I have some wonderful books I bought that were about how to live in Europe and, moving to Poland. You're missing a lot of little things that you really should know. But you can't, the thing is not to fight it.
Yes.
They're not going to do things your way.
Yeah.
You have to adjust to things their way.
Yeah, you're a guest.
Mm-hmm.
I am a guest in someone else's country. And it's like up to me to learn to try to learn the language. I've failed Polish twice.
It's a hard language, though. Come on.
Too far in language. It's a very tough language.
Hard. Yeah.
So like one of your other guests, I heard say, I speak Polish in the first person.
In the first person present tense. Yes.
That's as far as I get. But people understand what I'm trying to say. And they may have a little smile on their face, but they understand what I'm trying to come across with.
Okay.
And I'm trying. They appreciate my trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Polish words come out of Greg's mouth, Polish people do a head snap. Like,
that's great. I love that.
The other funny part to that is there are things I can get perfectly right in the Polish language.
Oh.
And when I do that to someone, they think I speak Polish.
Oh.
And then they just go off. And I'm thinking, well, how do I tell them stop?
Oh, okay. How do you say I don't speak Polish?
Nie mówię po polsku. I do not speak in the Polish.
Nie mówię po polsku.
Oh, very impressive.
Yes.
It's a problem because I'm forgetting a lot.
So much. Me too.
Not having people to talk
right around you. Yeah, you have to be immersed.
That's when you say one of the things that I love about being in Poland. That was one of the things that was at the top of my list, was listening to the language every day, being able to hear that language every day, and remembering that the language that I grew up in was really a beautiful language. That was, to me, it was important to me.
And I eavesdropped on everyone.
Yeah.
Just to.
I asked that question because, you guys were such New Yorkers. You lived in Manhattan. Jersey's the same to me. And we're very much like that. We both worked in Manhattan most of our careers. And then even though we live in Brooklyn, everyone did that. So I just wondered, because when we've traveled abroad, I always knew in my head, this was a limited time, right? It was a vacation period. And sometimes, depending on where we were, getting back on that flight was, can't wait to get back to New York. JFK wasn't a nice airport until recently. Well, it's still still being worked on. But I enjoyed that trip home because, like you said, it's the comfort. Even if you land at JFK or LaGuardia or whatever, and you run into people and they piss you off, you're accustomed to that, right? And so you don't think anything of it. You don't think, oh, I can't wait to leave here. So I want to be prepared. No, because when you go to a foreign country, you have to be very open-minded. Yeah. You are a guest. I mean, we married in Italy. All right.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, it was really an amazing thing that we did that we thought of doing that. And part of that was my mom would have wanted a traditional Chinese wedding that she couldn't afford and we couldn't afford. and Gene's mother would have wanted a traditional American wedding and we couldn't afford that either. So we said, why don't we take what little money we have, because we had so much student debt. We'll do something beautiful just for us. And we, when we got home, we had some family get-togethers, but it was not like paying for a wedding. So, but when we went to Italy, it was definitely different. We didn't speak the language. We were in Florence, and where we stayed, most of the people spoke Italian. It was tough trying to navigate the 2 weeks we were there. And as soon as they looked at us and they knew we were not Italians. Even though Gene is part Italian, people mistake him for a Jew at work. They'll say, "Happy Passover." And he's like, "Okay, thanks." And
never fight it.
Never fight it, because it's all beautiful. That's what I wanted to add. Have we left anything out? We've covered almost everything that we kind of wanted to. And you guys have so many wonderful stories. I've been looking at your blog, and our exchanges over emails have really been enriching. Do you have any words of advice for people who wish to retire or retire abroad? Anything in general?
Well, I say that you should start looking when you're younger.
I mean, it's too late? It's too late for us?
No. I mean, start thinking about it. You're already thinking about it. But start thinking about it when you're younger because like most people who go to Poland from the United States have some sort of ancestral connection. Poland, you don't people don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to Krakow.
Americans don't. Europeans do, but Americans don't.
Oh, it's a big European tourist destination.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not a big American tourist destination.
True.
Research. Read. Stay away from internet influencer videos. They're totally meaningless.
Yeah.
Read. Start looking for things maybe that you like. Things I found in Europe that I did not really have access to as frequently as I could in the United States, museums. And if you had told me 10 years ago that I was going to be a lover of museums and art galleries and 18th century paintings, I would have said, go away.
Greg would never go into a church. Because he said, "Oh, lightning is going to strike me." But now, I mean, the first thing we do when we get to a town is, hit the churches because is their beauty and the history and some of them have amazing art. And now he's a churchgoer too.
Oh, yeah, the art. That's what I mean about architecture.
Yeah,
when you're looking at something that was built in the 10th century, and you just stand there and try to figure out how you could possibly erect this without modern tools.
They have concerts in the churches too, which is another thing that
and concerts in the castle, Wawel Castle on the hill. There are concerts there. Talked about Bianchi Day where women buy wreaths.
Okay. It's the solstice.
Flowers in the hair.
This is the way solstice. Yeah, they celebrate the solstice, the shortest day of the year, and it's a all-day festival. And wearing the flowered wreaths is a part of that old tradition. So they actually have competitions who can make the most beautiful flowered wreaths. Okay. And at night, there's amazing fireworks at the castle. And people come, and the castle's up on a hill, and there's like a slope that goes down to the river. And people come early with their kids and blankets, and they just all line up on that slope. And then they have these beautiful fireworks over this tremendous looking castle. It's really, really nice. That's
magical.
Yeah, it is magical.
Yeah. And you have the Dragon Festival, since the city of Krakow was founded by a dragon.
In the
That's a
castle,
long story.
in the castle, there's a cave underneath, down in the rock cave, and that's where they say the dragon used to live. And before there was ever a city there was a dragon, and a king killed him by feeding him poisoned sheep, and that's the story of. And his name was Croc. The king's name was Croc. So now every year, beginning of June, I think it is, they have a Dragon Day festival, and they have homemade dragons, and like a lot of them look like the Chinese dragons.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, they come down the street that way, and at night they have fireworks for that too.
Fireworks with like Macy's Day sized dragons.
Oh,
that
nice.
are illuminated,
and they do battle on the river.
They do battle.
Yeah,
the dragon battle on the river.
Oh, that's so cool. Greg, I wanted to also ask you, how did your family feel about you moving to Poland?
I really don't have a family.
Oh, okay.
I'm the last one.
Oh,
my son, but every brothers and sisters' parents are all gone.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, so sorry.
Okay. Well, I was going to say good for you, but I didn't mean that in any way, in any bad way. But okay,
My goodness.
No, Gene, I didn't. You know what I mean.
I know what she means.
Yeah, that there isn't anyone.
I know her, but
there isn't anyone.
Has nothing to do with you.
That there isn't anyone making you feel bad or guilty or
I will say one thing about Krakow. There was a man who I met, and he was from I believe Texas. I met him in the square, and we were just struck up a conversation. He's married to a Polish woman. She came to visit her relatives every year. She comes. And he said, I really like this place. I don't want Americans to find out about it. I'd like to can we just keep this our secret?
Oh, that's so funny. So it really is sort of a secret, huh? Because I never really thought about going to Krakow.
Yeah, it is kind of a secret. We had like a flight attendant reunion, like some of my best friends from the airline.
Wow.
And we used to like trips all over the world. So none of them have ever been to Poland. Oh. And one was German, one is French, one is American, two are American. And we all met and we had such a great time. They loved it. They just fell in love with the city. In fact, Gia, my French friend, stayed to have dentistry.
Wow.
And she came back again to have it finished. They just really, really loved it. And it's like a little secret. And if you go, I think you'll see what we mean. Yeah.
And the one thing I forgot, I'm sorry, I don't want to take up too much.
Take your time.
Was you never think of Poland as a land of castles.
Yeah.
But when you go into southern Poland, there are castles all over the place.
Wow.
And some are in disrepair, but most of them are not. Some of them are empty because during the war, Germans took the good stuff and just left the building. Mm-hmm. There's so many things there that you would never think of or connect with. Poland. And you wouldn't think of Poland as a sea power, but they had their battles with Sweden. You wouldn't think of Sweden as a big power in the Baltic. But Poland and Sweden used to fight in the Baltic. With Ukraine. And it's such a historic place. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And no matter which direction you go, there's history. And there's a museum in Krakow. I'm not sure what it's called. Mm-hmm. But there's the Battle of Grunwald, which was fought between the Poles and the Lithuanian?
The Knights, the
Teutonic Knights.
Teutonic Knights, yeah. Mm.
And the whole battle is put together inside this museum with Lego characters.
Oh my God.
It's an entire room. It's 2 million Legos.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Every little soldier is lined up in place.
That is so funny.
I love
it's wonderful.
They're very proud people. They're very proud of their heritage. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're very proud that I believe they're the only country that did not surrender to Germany during the war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
They're just, they're very family orientated. And once they get to know you and you get to know them, you got friends for life. As a matter of fact, when I was leaving, the woman who owns a restaurant that we go to, her and her husband own this restaurant. And I told her I was going back to the United States for it. She said, "Oh, you're going on vacation?" She assumed that this was my home. Poland was my home. Krakow was my home.
That's great.
And she made me an honorary Pole too.
That's great. That is so great. Well, I want to thank you guys. I think we learned so much. Gene, was there anything else you wanted to add? Or
No, I'm
Ask.
just amazed by the place. Now I want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys so
Do
much.
widzenia. Do widzenia.
Do widzenia.
Do
Okay.
widzenia.
Do widzenia.
Okay, bye. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you know someone who's relocated for retirement and wishes to share their story with us, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is gg@retirethere.com. Our website is retirethere.com, and you may follow us on Twitter @retirethere_. Now, if you've liked our show, please subscribe and rate it in Apple Podcasts. In the meantime, be well.